Here's today's puzzle. It's white to play and win, but before we talk about the puzzle, I have to explain what happened this morning. So I was cooking some platanos. It's basically just fried plantains, and the way you do it is you slice up the plantain and you put it in the oil and you fry it on the stove, okay? After I cut it, this is like halfway through. I've already cooked some, and there's another one. I'm going to put it in. Instead of like putting it in gently like you're supposed to, I kind of didn't really toss it in, but I pushed it off the plate faster and harder than I should have. Anyway, giant drop of hot oil splashed onto my bare foot, and I have a red, like massive red welt, and it's been hurting all day. So, moral of the story, be careful when you're cooking with hot oil. Don't just throw it in there and let it splash all over your body. That's not a good, it's not a good thing to do. I wasn't being very smart there. So anyway, that's my story. But today we're talking about this puzzle, white to play and win. All right, so when you first look at this, obviously black has an extra pawn, 4 against 3, and a bishop. And, you know, this pawn looks pretty scary. This pawn looks pretty scary. Even this one, they're all passed pawns. However, white has the advanced pawn. The problem is that black has the bishop. And so if we push e7, which is the correct move, black has two options to stop our pawn, okay? And bishop to b5 is actually the best one. And we'll come back to why bishop h5 doesn't work in just a minute. But I want to just point out, if you say, you know what, I'm going to use my king to come over here and escort my pawn, you're out of time, right? Black's going to push. Black's going to push. Yes, you get the queen, but they're just going to sacrifice, and then they get the queen, and black wins. Okay, so we don't have time for that. So we have to find something that's a faster solution. Okay, so after bishop to b5, what move do you think white should play? All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, there's actually two different ways to win. Stockfish finds a separate win, but the original puzzle, the intended move, was knight to c6. And the point is, well, it's twofold. Number one, we're blocking the bishop from the square, so we're threatening to get a queen. So black is forced to take us. If they take with the pawn, well, then we've opened up this pawn, and we just simply push it, and there's no way black is stopping this in time. Their pawn is too slow. We get the queen. We have time to come over here and check and take the pawn, and we're going to win. So that's the first point. So black says, okay, I'm not going to take with the pawn. I'm going to take with the bishop. And now I'm controlling this square with my bishop. If you would like to pause, what do we play here as white to win the game? Why did we want to give up our knight? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is a6. And that was not too difficult because there's not really much else we can do. But this turns out to be a crushing move. Of course, black doesn't have time again to go push the pawn because ours is going to be faster. So for example, we would get the queen first and also stop black's. And so again, black is obligated to take us. But now you can probably find the follow-up move. That's right. If you said b7, you are correct. And what we are doing is giving this bishop too many jobs. It needs to guard this and take here, but it also needs to stay guarding here, and it can't do both of them. So black has to choose. Do you capture here and give us the queen, which is a winning endgame? Now it's going to be a little tricky. We're going to have to pick off some of the pawns and get rid of the bishop, but it is going to be a win. Or does black stay on this diagonal and allow us to get a queen here? Something like this, and we get the queen. Either way, we have broken through, and we're going to win. All right, so that's kind of the idea. And just going back, bishop to h5, same thing. We can play a6, and now there's even less help from the bishop, and regardless of what black does, we're going to either come through this way or just keep pushing and get a queen like that. And for those of you who are wondering, the win that Stockfish found instead of knight to c6 was pushing a6 now, and it's kind of a similar idea. If the bishop takes, well, then we've lured the bishop away. We simply get the queen here. If the pawn takes, then again, we would play b7, and this pawn goes through. And the only other thing black might try to do is push their pawn, but again, we can see that we could also win this way. So that was another solution. So if you really said knight to c6 or a6, you would be correct. Both of those moves will get the job done. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I'll see you next time. As always, stay sharp, play smart, and take care.